Morning, folks. All right, we're grabbing that bunch of cattle or heifers that we trailed here yesterday. We're gonna take them across the desert and drop them on some water. It's a pretty good push. Forecast for today is supposed to be rain, and there's been a couple drops just started coming down. I don't know how much we're gonna get out here, or maybe it'll just end up windy, or I don't know what it's gonna do. Are you gonna jump it? Yep. That's pretty graceful. But anyhow, heifers are all up there. They had some hay here last night, so they should be fed and should want to move pretty good, so should be a good day. I left Baker back. She's kind of sore-footed. She had 4 really big days. Ollie looks good to go, but anyways, I'll see you guys when we get up with the cattle. All right, we got a fence line ahead of us here. There's of course a gate in it, so we're gonna get them to that gate and then start them out across the desert. We did this push a year ago. It snowed on us pretty good that day, and I don't think it'll snow on us today, but it might rain on us a little bit. We'll find out either way, I suppose. Rush is happy to be here, aren't ya? Well, here's our gate. Just gonna turn them out here, and I don't know, they might scatter a little bit going through it, but we'll get them gathered back up and start them over the hill. Over the hill a little ways is a road that we'll be on for quite a while. And then after that we'll cut across the brush and catch another road and follow that road up to the water where we're leaving them. So we got a long ways to go yet today. All right, when we're out the gate, just gotta head towards that yellow spot, get across that yellow spot, turn left, head up a canyon. That's the basics of it. It's a pretty good sized day. Most of these cows, probably 2/3 of them, did the same exact thing last year, so hopefully they'll line out and go pretty smooth. Hopefully we don't encounter the snow that we had last year. We'll find out.
Mincer Silversmiths. Quality work created and designed by Western artist John Mincer. We are dedicated to providing unique, one-of-a-kind items for serious collectors. Rings, necklaces, and bracelets for jewelry lovers. Handmade tack, bits, spurs, spur straps, and buckles for working cowboys and cowgirls. And the Joel Henry high-end collection tack and hardware line for leather crafters. We're proudly made in the USA. Step up to the finest in silverworks from Mincer Silversmiths. Find us on Facebook or call us at 775-423-3379.
All right, you guys can see we just hit that road we trailed them down last year. Some of them lead cows kind of really hit a trot. So Amatio is going to go up and work the sides of them, make sure that they don't try and duck off anywhere. And because I got the dog, I'm going to stay here in the back with them. So it's really amazing. A cow, once she gets to know the desert, she remembers it. She has that mental map, and kind of all you got to do is tell her when to go. And sometimes, like on cow herds that have been on deserts years, you don't even have to tell them when. They know when. They know what time of year. They may not know exact day or anything like that, but they get the routine, and they know it. They are creatures of habit. Certain cows like certain areas in the deserts, and you know, when you get to work in a desert and you get really familiar with that desert, and you see certain cows in certain spots, and then all of a sudden they're in a different spot, or they're not in their spot, or something like that, you kind of get a little questionable, a little questioning as to why. And sometimes it's hunters or something like that, you know, just bumped them out on accident, or you know, maybe the wild horses moved in, or somebody left a gate open and something like that. So you get to kind of knowing you get to know in the desert, and the desert will tell you when something's wrong. You just have to open your eyes and look for it, is all. So what Nemesio just did, he got ahead of those that were trotting off down the road and stopped them up. Basically, he just pumped the brakes on them a little bit. It's just 2 of us moving these today, and it's not that it's a huge number or nothing, but if we let them get way strung out, we can lose some. And where the part of the desert we're going through is a lot less than ideal. As you can see, there's not very much feed right here, and there's even less water once the rain stops. So it would be really not a good thing to lose any of them here. So he just got ahead of them, pumped the brakes a little bit. He's going to let these that are walking catch up. And a lot of times with desert cows, when you pump the brakes 2 or 3 times, they'll quit trotting and they'll just walk. And that's what we want. You know, their 3rd trimester pregnancy, so there is no desire to have them trotting across the desert. They don't need it. Just a nice walk is plenty. So they're a little bunch ahead of me trotting right now, but that's on their own. Hey, get back. I'm not pushing on them or anything like that. I'm just riding along behind them. So pretty simple right now. Nemesio's definitely doing the hardest part right here, running the leads. It takes some practice to be proficient at steering them where you want them to, slowing them down when you need to, and not turning them back. So there's a certain amount of lined out that we want, but we want to make sure and keep it controllable. On the first video of this series, the wind ruined what I was saying, but I rode with Nemesio for several years. He's one of my best friends. I consider him a brother. There is somewhat of a language barrier there, but I would ride across any desert with any amount of cattle with him. He's a good hand for sure. He's excellent to have in camp. He didn't like to cook, and I didn't like to do dishes, so I cooked and he did dishes, and it was that way 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner, and it worked really good. So guys like that are definitely appreciated. So back to what do they eat? In this kind of bare spot here, you get this little white sagebrush. It's called white sage or winter fat. This is a really small, sparse stand of it. There are some stands of this that are doing way better. The population density of the plants is way better, and the plants are a little bit more robust and a little bit taller. It doesn't get very tall, and a nickname for white sage is winter fat. And The reason for that is it is really good feed. It is it actually has a higher protein content than alfalfa, so kind of cool to see. You can see a little bit of it growing out there. Usually it doesn't intermingle with the bigger sagebrush, the buckbrush and stuff like that. They kind of, where the big stands of white sage are, it's usually just that. But so that's another good feed. Oh, quit, doofus. Come on, girls, keep walking. I don't know why they're all stopping on top of the ridge there. Pay attention to your feet. Don't worry about the other horse. That's why they were all stopping on the other side. This would be a big old reservoir if it was ever full, but as you guys can see by the brush right here and then the little water mark down there, it never catches much water at all. Don't know as if I'd have tried to make a reservoir right here, but it didn't work. Maybe during an extraordinary condition it'd fill up with a little bit of water like this, but it don't fill up with much at all. You can see this little brown crispy looking plant right here. That's Indian rice grass. That's pretty good cow feed. There are some places where there's a lot more of it than there is here. There's really just a little bit of it here, but cows like to eat that. Pretty good feed to it. Okay guys, we're down here in the middle of the flats. Made it past the yellow spot and all that. I went and did a live stream for not quite an hour, so that was kind of fun talking to some folks. It's a pretty crazy world that cowboying out in the middle of nowhere, and you can do a live stream. Technology is an amazing thing. But you guys could see the ground's changed a little bit down here in the bottoms. You can see that windmill and water storage tank and stuff in front of us here. I explained it in the live stream, but there's two troughs that run off that storage tank and the well. The well has a submersible pump you could power by a generator now, and I could never get water to work on the other side of that fence for whatever reason. So we're gonna take these heifers right past it, through the fence, and that canyon that's straight over top of them, we're gonna go up that. Last year when we did this, I didn't know there was a gate in this corner, or I didn't remember, I should say. So we trailed them down further and then cut up. So this is quite a bit shorter, and as you can see, they travel really good this way. So that was my mistake last year. I could have saved us probably an hour, maybe a little bit more. Saved a few miles anyways. But mistakes happen. Nemesio, he knows right where that gate is, so that's where he's pointing these girls to. So anyways, we're just bumping the drags along. It's kind of a nice quiet day. So I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. So a lot of people ask, what's the water situation like on the deserts? This is a pretty standard setup. Have a well right there. It used to be powered by the windmill, but you can see now it's in disrepair, and you can see the extension cord right there. It has a submersible pump in that well. generator out here, run the generator, pumps water out of the well into the tank. Gravity feeds into the trough. Now, if you notice, there's 3 pipes in this trough. One is the first overflow, one is the first overflow, another is the second overflow, and the third one is the fill pipe. So water will gravity flow out of the storage tank. It'll fill this trough. Of the 2 overflow pipes, probably that one in the center, you can see it's got an angle cut on it, is lower than the other overflow. That other overflow stops the water from overflowing the trough right here and making a mess and causing a bunch of erosion. That overflow in the middle runs to a pipe that up by Nematio up there on the other side of the cows and on the other side of a fence is another trough. So you could have one well watering 2 troughs if the system would have worked. I never could get that system to fill the trough on the other side of the fence, just the trough on this side of the fence. I fought with it hard. This side of the fence we never really used. There's not a lot of feed. And it would have been nice to have that trough on the other side of the fence work, because we could have utilized a bit more of the feed there. So that's just one solution to water on the desert. Some ranches are really good about maintaining the windmills, and when the wind blows, it pumps water. And other ranches have switched to solar panels, which when the sun's out, it pumps water. To a generator like that, when you put gas in it, it pumps water. So there's a bunch of different pros and cons to each one's of the methods in terms of getting water out of the ground. I worked for a ranch that put a bunch of solar panels in, and within a few months they had been shot and were no longer operational. People come out and think that a solar panel next to a well is a good target to practice their shooting on, so that was cool. That was expensive. I've heard of generators getting stolen from windmills. It's not very often you find a windmill that's operational that doesn't have a bullet hole in 1 or 2 of the fins. So I don't know why people get such a kick out of shooting that sort of stuff, but they do. Anyways, they're going through that gate right now, so that's awesome. Still doing good, cutting across the desert here. Really would love the sun to come out. My feet are getting cold. Anybody that knows me knows how much I hate it when my feet get cold. It's not really that cold out today, the mid-40s, but there's just been almost no, like this is the most sun we've had all day. And then it's been going so smooth that haven't had to trot around or really get any blood flowing, so kind of just been sitting here, so to speak. That little bit of sunshine sure feels good. It'd be nice if it come out all the way. Nematio's on the back of them now. I'm just kind of hanging on the high side of them here, making sure they don't turn and head up country before we get to the canyon we need to get to. So we're still kind of in no man's land here. Not much to utilize, but we'll be getting into some little bit better country here, enough where the cattle can make a living anyhow. So they might come graze around here just a little bit, but they're not going to hang out here for very long. The other side of this little valley, I guess you could call it, right here that you can see, they hang out a lot over there. There's quite a bit better feed over there. We won't be over there today though. We're gonna get to about halfway between here and there and turn left and head up that canyon there. So kind of sad today's the last day, but I'm kind of happy to go home and see my wife and kids. It's been a good trip. It's been a lot of fun. It's been long days, covered a lot of distance, moved a lot of cattle. All good things must come to an end. After this after these cattle are put out here, then the real work starts. Keeping an eye on them, packing salt, checking fence, trying to make sure they're not where they shouldn't be. Definitely a lot of work out on the desert to run a desert the right way. As much as people seem to think it's just a set it and forget it sort of deal, it's not. Not to do it the right way anyways. Well, here we have one of Nevada's specialties. First time the sun's really come out today, and sprinkling rain. It's okay if it wants to sprinkle rain like this, but it means the sun's out, I will dang sure take it. That sunshine feels really good. This is the canyon we're heading up. These girls are just plodding along, just real kind of almost as if in a trance. You know, nobody's really been trying to brake real hard, or nobody's lagging behind. It's just kind of going real smooth today. Real nice. I've been kind of working on getting Rush to step over across himself just by that outside rain and not pulling on him. Does pretty good that way. Try him again right here. Doing better. Not quite the best that way. I'll work on that side. That little slow stuff there where you just, you know, just that outside rein and a little bit of spur. That's the start of them big fancy spins. I usually don't care too much about that, but I'm trying to put a nicer handle on my horses these days than I have in the past. You know, I was pretty utilitarian about it. I would prioritize nothing more than what it took to get the job done. And well, no, I guess I'm just kind of curious to see if I can put a really nice handle on one like that. That mare Pat was riding yesterday, she's got a really nice handle on her, for sure. Roan mare. As you can see, this part of the desert, we got a little bit more feed in here than we did back there. This cheatgrass is coming here, and a little bit of different forages. So as we get up towards where we're quitting them for the day, if I notice anything else, I'll show you guys, of course. How are you doing? All good? Okay. So everything's going real good. Alright, we're gonna gut to the water here. I'll let anybody that wants to get a drink get a good drink. What do you think of that? Yeah. So this water, it'll dry up here before too long unless we keep getting wet weather. This is strictly just runoff water right here. This is not spring fed. So here in probably just even a week or 2 weeks, this will be dry, which is why we're taking these girls further up the canyon, because that'll be where the water is year-round. Anyways, we're gonna let whoever wants to water up right here, and then we'll keep going with them. All right, Macio's gonna trot up to head of them. There's a spot or two up here where they kind of like to crawl out. There's some feed and some water and stuff like that up ahead of them, so he's gonna make sure that they stay on the road for now. He's got a little while to get there, so he's not in too big of a hurry. But we just been bumping them along up this road now. It's gonna take us all the way to right where we need to go. It's relatively simple now. Kind of letting the dogs mash on them right here. They were wanting to get really lazy and wanting to fan out, so kind of let the dogs work on them a bit. I still got 2 over there, but they're walking, so I ain't worried about it. Kind of just want to keep moving, not let them get fanned out and find ourselves in a bind where we're having to push on each individual one. They're still moving pretty good. Now they're starting to trail out pretty good again. Kind of using the dogs to work the side there. Got everybody kind of woke up moving again. So we're almost to where we're quitting these girls. We've come up quite a ways, and you can see now that on the side hill there's a lot of bunch grasses. Those are good feed. Cows eat those a lot. There's some fine grasses underneath the sagebrush up here, and the cows will eat the sagebrush a little bit. They'll nibble on it. And you can see, like on the hill in front of me, all that yellow up there, that's dried grasses that they can utilize. Much like this grass on this side hill here is. The green grasses are starting to show up for the spring, which is a touch early for that, but that's how this year's gonna be, it looks like, so we'll take it. It's a pretty rocky pasture up here. The girls that get put out here, they work for a living, you know. I don't bring horses out here that aren't shod for obvious reasons. So no, you're fine. That looks like that was pieces of a camper or something. Somebody's awning, maybe. And people sure like to litter in the desert. Alright, well, the Macio's counting them in the gate there. You can get a drink. Alright. Oh my goodness. Pretty good day. We're gonna, hopefully our trailer will show up soon and we'll load up in the trailer. I imagine that'd probably be it for the day. And then I'm gonna get back to the headquarters. Pack my stuff up. Load my horses up, go home and see my wife and kids. That's gonna be nice. I haven't been home for almost a week. Not terribly long, but long enough. So, anyways guys, appreciate you riding along as always. Those of you new to the channel, it's good to have you. Feel free to ask any questions about my lifestyle, cows, horses, whatever. For those of you guys that are veterans to the channel, so to speak, thank you for supporting and watching and all that good stuff, and we'll see everybody on the next one.